So, one of the most revelatory things that we can figure out, like on our life journey, is the understanding people do not have to agree with us. Um, once you sort of nail that down, you're like, this is great. So, um, for example, when my son was younger, he would say something like, "Oh, I don't like this, Mama." I'd be like, "I'm really sorry. Um, you don't have to like it. That's okay. We're still gonna do the thing." Um, so that could be something around, like, let's say getting a shot or whatever. Sometimes we got to do the things we don't like, but it's okay. It's okay to not like the things. But that idea of being able to say like, "Oh, it's okay. You can feel what you feel, and you can think what you think, and you don't have to agree with me." That truly is such a like ego shadow work growth process accomplishment, and it is awesome. However, to even get there, you have to figure out what you think. And I know that sounds kind of obvious, but when you're in a relationship with someone who has, let's say, non optimal conflict habits, you often can't even get to the point where you know what you think about a thing. So you can say, "Oh, it's okay, we don't agree." I'll give you an example. So, with my abusive ex, he used to create the conditions for conversations that were, for some reason it'd be like late at night. We'd be up and it'd be like 3 a.m. and I was so tired. Um, it'd be highly emotional. It would be very reactive, and it just he wasn't a dumb person, and so he'd keep like wearing me down on stuff, and I'd be like, no, no, I don't agree, and then well maybe, and then so what I ended up doing was I'd be ping ponging back and forth between conclusions and thoughts, and I'd be ping ponging back and forth between emotional states. And, then later he would use that against me and say, like, "You're not emotionally stable," or I never know what you're gonna actually think, because you never say the same thing." And what was ending up happening was once I was able to get, like in the moment, he could wear me down, or at least make me very unsure of myself. But as soon as I had like some space and time to process and sort of do that thing where you review the conversation or argument or abuse interaction, um, and you're able to sort of put it in context, and you're like, "Oh, wait a minute, you know what?" So there would be these moments, or there'd be these, it'd be a cycle of it ramp up, and he's feeling his feelings, very defensive, and it's very reactive, and it just seems to be going so fast, and I'm in the middle of it like, wait, whoa, 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 I don't agree with this, I don't agree with that, well maybe you're right, now I'm confused. And when I had a chance to step back and go, here's what I think, here I've now been able to sort of coalesce my thoughts and feelings. Usually when we interact with people, we are already interacting from a place of we know what we think and feel. We've reached the end of the processing, you know, cycle. And so we have a fully formed concept, idea, opinion, whatever that we were able to tell somebody. But I was noticing I would be I would be in the middle of this dynamic and just like completely had lost like my center of myself, and my center of like this is what I think even reality is. I get to the point where I didn't want to have any conversations with him in person. I only wanted them in writing because that way at least I could like copy. Like any of you who've been around the subreddit, I'm all about that copy paste shit. Especially since people will go back and they'll delete and copy paste like you know. Um so I really like I didn't even want to have any kind of a conversation that I couldn't go back and double check because he just absolutely ended up confusing me. Anyway, so one thing I learned was like, hey, I get to, you know what? I get to ask for space. I get to ask for time to process. I can say, you know what? I need to think about this. I need to take some time and see where I end up, and come back to it. And sort of taking a real intense, reactive, potentially toxic dynamic and slowing it down so that it's not people just saying things at each other and you're not just like trying to prevent yourself from being drowned by somebody else's, you know, intensity, I guess. Can really give you that chance to figure out, okay, here's where I'm at. I figured out why, and then you can go into the conversation and explain, well, here's my perspective. And it's okay if you don't agree with me, but this is why I think what I think or feel what I feel or whatever. And so you're coming into the conversation from a very centered, stable place. Um, Abusive people will be destabilizing, in terms of your of yourself, of what you think, of how you feel, even your sense of reality. It's the term is crazy making. It feels very crazy making, but really it's so destabilizing. And in order to find your way back to some sense of continuity, you need space from them. But what do they hate? They hate giving you that space. They want to be around you all the time, or usually it's phrased in a really romantic, lovely way of, I love you so much and I never want to be apart and yada yada. And there's a reason why the escalated relationships, have such red flags. Um, when people say like you lose yourself, you really do lose yourself and you just become like very reactive. You're reacting to them, you're reacting to your, let's say hormones, you're reacting to your feelings, you're like tossed in the wind and you don't have any center to go to. And the center to go to is when you have that space to yourself where you go, okay, what happened? Let me put this in context. Now I know what's going on. Anyway, so you're dealing with somebody and the pace is too fast. You're like a Ben Shapiro type. I've never actually watched any of his videos because I can already tell that he is a terrible debater and just an asshole. Like I don't need to watch that. But the vibe I get is that he just like does that thing. And it's absolutely just super toxic when you're dealing with people. So if you can just, like slow it down, get some space, come back to yourself, kind of process where you're at. And that way you have a completed sense of what you think that you can now put forward and say, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm thinking. This is why I feel the way that I feel. You don't have to agree with me, but this is what's up. Of course, they hate if you set boundaries. They don't want you to do it. They're going to come up with all sorts of reasons as to why that's a bad thing or you're being a bad person for doing that. And that's why that shit is parade of red flags. But truly, you get to, well, when I would try to walk away, actually, that's when he would get most physically violent. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But if you're not dealing with that kind of person, that's when you get to go, you know what? I'm stepping back from this. I'm walking away. I'm taking a pause. I need to pause this. I need to slow it down. I need to see what I think. I need to not be in this reactive space. And then you can come from a place of, strength and, certainty about at least what you think and feel, versus feeling like you feel all the things and you think all the things. And it's just all very confusing. Hopefully this makes sense. I'll talk to you next time.